Who pays more in taxes, W-2 employees or 1099 contractors? Well, generally speaking, it's the 1099 contractors, but not always. Let's dig into the details and kind of, dissect this. Let's say both of these individuals make $100,000 a year. Now, for a W-2 employee, the taxes are a little bit more straightforward. You're only going to be subject to income taxes. Now, you get to reduce this 100,000 by the standard deduction or your itemized, whichever one's going to be more advantageous, and other things like above the line deductions and whatever credit you're available for. That same $100,000, but now for a 1099 contractor, well, they're also going to be subject to the same income taxes as the W-2 employee, but with the added benefit of actually getting to deduct half of your self-employment taxes, more on that later, plus the advantage of taking QBID, or the qualified income business deduction, that W-2 employees are not eligible for. The biggest gut punch when it comes to income from 1099 work is how much of that is subject to self-employment tax. You see, as a W-2 employee, you pay Social Security and Medicare tax, which comes out to 7.65%. But you see, behind the scenes, your employer is actually paying that same amount. They're matching that. But as a 1099 contractor, you're both the employee and the employer. So you have to pay both portions. Hence, that's why it's called self-employment tax. Now, thankfully, self-employment income is somewhat easy to figure out, so it makes tax planning a little easier. It's 15.3% of 92.35% of your net business income. So again, whatever you think your business is going to generate, take those two multipliers, times them together, and that's going to give you your self-employment tax hit. But to add insult to injury, remember, there's an income tax portion, and that's completely separate from the self-employment tax. Because up here from the 1099, we can still take a deduction for this, like the standard deduction, but see, the standard deduction and like all these add-ons up here don't actually benefit the self-employment portion. So quite literally, a self-employed, again, 1099 person could potentially pay less income tax than a W-2 employee. But again, we have to take into account the self-employment tax, which can be, again, fairly burdensome. We can't ignore the biggest benefit of earning income as a 1099 contractor, and that is all the additional deductions you can write off that a W-2 earner would not be able to. So again, things that are ordinary and necessary in order to generate this 100,000 for this example potentially could be a deduction. So in this case, if this 100,000 is me as a self-employed accountant, then any costs that help generate that 100,000 would potentially be a write-off. So things like office supplies and equipment and maybe certain things for my office, write-offs. But if this was the 100,000 for, again, me being a W-2 employee as an accountant, anything out of my pocket that was reimbursed, really no benefit there.